landing a great job opportunity is sometimes very challenging. Breaking into tech and getting hired as a sales rep can be even harder. When I was applying to my first sales jobs, I also struggled with the unknown, what to expect, what the tech industry was like, and how do I break in? After years of being an SDR myself, I've decided to build something I wish I had in the beginning. My name is Stefan, and in the SDR Hire podcast, I interview successful SDRs and salespeople who share their stories straight from the trenches. Learn how they got their first job offers, how they succeed every day in their roles, and what makes them stand out in their organizations. We all have what it takes. We just need someone to remind us of the opportunity and give us a better chance for success. Let's get your next SDR gig. Hi, and welcome to another episode of the SDR Hire podcast. Today, I'm interviewing Emily Huang, an SDR at PatientPop, a 500 people health tech startup. Emily's story is so intriguing because in just a few months, without any prior SDR experience, she managed to get promoted not once, but twice, as well as to hit her numbers in a very impressive manner. More about her story, we'll get to hear from Emily herself. Emily, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Stefan. I'm really happy to be here.
Happy to have you on board. Let's just start with, a bit about your background. I understand you have not been an SDR prior to your current role. So can you walk us through your initial background and how you broke into tech and being an SDR?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I graduated college and right away I started working in marketing and graphic design. Then I kind of bounced around a little bit, had a couple quarter life crises where I was trying to figure out, what do I actually care about? What am I good at? And where do I want to be in the next 5 to 10 years? And a bunch of my friends were in sales in the tech space. I didn't realize how incredible the opportunities were in that space until I started doing my research, asking the people around me. And that's really what led me to apply to be an SDR with PatientPop. And right before starting, I actually wanted to be a doctor as part of my path to getting here. But I was taking courses full time for a year, like organic chemistry and all of those science classes. Wow. But then I realized, I wanted to be able to help people, but in a different way. So PatientPop really led me to mixing sales with medicine a little bit.
That's a really awesome story, and I think a lot of us can relate with the fact that you had, what did you call it, like quarter life crisis?
Yes, quarter life crises.
I love it. I love it because I went through something similar as well, and I know a lot of people that have went through those things as well, and so I think it's really normal, although a very relatable experience. And it's pretty cool that you actually got to have the best of both worlds, like something you were passionate about, and then on the other hand, being able to do not necessarily medicine, which is really cool. And speaking of medicine and health tech, can you walk us what was your experience like with interviewing with did you right off the bat know that you want to go with PatientPop, or did you have a strategy, or did you just apply where you found openings?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I did apply to several different companies. PatientPop was at the top of my list just because I was coming from a medicine health focused background. But I will say what really stood out to me in the interview process and just applying was I reached out to some people on LinkedIn before, saw this girl, and she was the top performing sales rep that I didn't know at the time. Just reached out to her, asked her if I could just ask her a few questions about the company. And she was so willing to take a call with a random stranger. And it ended up being like a 30-minute conversation, and she was being so helpful and gave me so many tips. She really sold me on PatientPop. And that was an experience that I didn't get with any of the other companies from people that I reached out to. So that made me really, that swayed me towards PatientPop, just because it felt like the culture, that was part of the culture in terms of now being on the other side. I know that any one of us would be more than willing to help if someone reached out.
Of course, but that's this is a topic that comes up once in a while in these episodes, which is basically,
Mhm.
a huge amount of success and well, success, comes from just being open to reaching out to people, because people are more than open to giving back and just helping others succeed, which is that's why I love
Mhm.
this community of sales in general. But I love the way you approach them, and obviously you got sold on PatientPop, which is pretty cool, since
Yeah.
you kind of started crushing it right off the bat. But like before we dive into that part, I'm just curious, what
Mhm.
was the interview process like at PatientPop?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So it was honestly very quick in terms of compared to other interview processes. So at PatientPop, I had one interview with the recruiter over the phone. He walked me through everything. Um, it was a 30-minute call, just general questions.
Right.
And then he emailed me after, told me I moved on to the next round, but gave me a list of things to really prepare for the next interview, which I found was really helpful. For example, like he gave me several words, like the words resilience and other words. And he was saying, like, just come up with stories for each of these scenarios. And I love that because I feel like that process made it so that it was more so easy for the managers to know that I was coachable and that I was willing to put in the work and to become prepared for these specific things.
Wow.
Um,
By the way, is
yeah,
that a third-party recruiter or a recruiter from the company?
internal. Yeah,
Wow, nice,
yeah,
awesome. Please
it was
continue.
great. Yeah, no, it was great. And then moving on from there, I had 3 interviews with 3 of the different managers. They were all SDR managers. And then I just had to go over the different stories and really connect with them. And they asked me about my background, but also situational questions of if I was in this situation, like what would I do?
Awesome. Can you give us an example if you
Yeah.
recall?
Um, for example, tell me a story about when you were resilient and you had to go through an obstacle,
Right.
and how that affected you.
That's a pretty cool question. I
Yeah,
mean, like,
absolutely.
and for somebody prepared as you seem to have been, it's a pretty, I mean, I'd say an easy thing to kind of nail, because they're literally asking you to tell them how awesome you are. I love those questions in interviews, but like,
Exactly.
I think that preparation that you had and the heads up you got from the recruiter was pretty significant, I guess.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like, I don't think I got that with any other company in terms of like prepare for this, 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 and this. And I believe they gave it to everyone who was
Mm,
interviewing. So it's like we all had that fair chance to
mm,
really be prepared with our stories and feeling confident going into it.
for sure, for sure. Wow,
Yeah.
that's really cool. By the way, did you have any like assessment steps in that process of the recruitment? Like, I don't know, like doing a mock cold call or writing a cold email?
I don't believe so, not for PatientPop, but I do think that they started doing that more recently, like in terms of giving feedback, doing a mock cold call and then giving feedback after.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Awesome. And so, how long was that process in total with PatientPop?
I think it was probably like a 2-week turnaround. So it was pretty
That's
quick.
nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a pretty cool to
Relatively.
know. Well, yeah, I mean, I recently heard that some companies have like 7 steps of interviewing, which is I think that's pretty that's like too much. But anyway,
I
awesome. And
agree.
then so you landed at PatientPop. Like, were you crushing it like from the first day, or like what was like the first couple of months like did you have an onboarding? What was it like?
Yeah, great question. So I honestly was kind of crushing it from the first day, I would say. Like I remember my first month, everyone in our Slack channel was like, "Who is this person?" Like, because I was
Awesome.
booking a lot. Yeah. But I will say, I think it's because during our training, it was a 1-month training process. I we had extra time during training, like because a lot of it was just onboarding and just learning processes. So I would take that extra time and I would be practicing objections. I read sales books. I was listening to podcasts. Like I was taking everything really seriously and trying to be really proactive because I felt like I was a little behind other people who came out of
Right.
college and went straight into tech sales. So I was like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to go 120% and I'm going to come out guns a-blazing.
Yes, you did.
So yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Well, the fact is that I noticed that you basically average like almost 300% of your monthly quota. So, can you tell us more? Like, how are you managing to put out such great numbers? And obviously, like maybe you can walk us through your 7-month career at PatientPop. Like you got, if I recall correctly, you got promoted a couple of times there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I did come out of the gates like really hot, but I did remember like my second month, I did a little bit worse than my first month. I struggled a lot with, I think, mindset. Mindset's such a big part of this job. Like my manager always told me it's mindset and process. So those are the two key pillars that are going to make you successful. And
Nice.
so so I was really happy. I went through that like low period in my second month because that helped me realize like I really needed to improve mindset. So I took the extra time to listen to podcasts, really worked on that. And I think that really changed the game. Once I like adopted the mindset of being grateful for all these opportunities to also realize like I'm here to help. Like I'm not here to annoy people on the phones and call them a million times. I'm here to help their business grow. I like these are small business owners. Like I want to be able to like really change their business because I can tell that they have a problem, you know, even if they don't realize it. So I think those two things and just day in, day out, being in love with the process of sales. Sales isn't always like the sexiest job in the world. You're doing a lot of the grunt work, but you have to be excited by the little things and the little victories. Celebrate those little wins. And I think just being consistent with all of those things throughout the next few months, eventually the job gets a lot easier. You start getting into a flow of things. And you just really feel like you find your groove. And I think if you just keep going day in, day out with both of those things of mindset and process, I think you'll eventually get to a point where you can just really do it pretty easily and feel confident in your abilities.
That's really cool. I mean, like I'm just processing all the things you said, and I really think that you nailed the most important part, which is in my mind at least, which is that mindset. Because
Mhm.
like being an SDR, sometimes it's fucking hard. I mean, you need to
Yeah.
so you get to hear the rejections, you get to hear, I mean, depending on what you're selling, sometimes it's worse, sometimes it's better, but still you're gonna
Mhm.
get a lot more no's than yeses. So having that resilience as well as having that mindset, and this is particularly what I love that you mentioned, which is that you're helping somebody do something and make their business better, not
Mhm.
selling. You actually believe in the product. So I feel like that's the most important part of the process. So
Yeah, absolutely. Like you have to believe in what you are doing. You have to be confident in that. And that's what's going to keep you going during those hard days, you know?
for sure, for sure. But speaking of the product itself, I mean, there are some products that you kind of like, but there are some products that you actually believe in and love. What's so special? I mean, can you tell us more about PatientPop in general? Like, what kind of a company is it, and what you're selling?
So I love PatientPop because I feel like it just serves such a need in the market that it's in. So we only help private practices and we're an all-in-one growth solution. So we'll take care of a lot of things like the website, also helping protect their online reputation in terms of reviews. and also streamline the front office in terms of patient intake forms and a lot of like the administrative tasks. So the fact that it's like we're basically trying to make it so easy for doctors to manage their practice, because our whole tagline is doctors didn't go to med school, fellowship, training, residency to necessarily have to know the ins and outs of running a business. But if they open up a private practice, they get thrown into that. So we make it really easy for doctors to manage their business, but also for patients to find their practice. Whereas doctors can just take care of the medicine, take care of patients, focus on what they truly care about. So that's our whole thing.
Yeah, really cool, really cool. Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
And speaking of PatientPop, when I looked at your profile on LinkedIn, and we talk about LinkedIn a bit later, but I checked there's more than a few people that I'm kind of connected with, or at least familiar with. I saw Justin Welsh. He's one of the more famous people on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And so it seems like the company is growing. You guys are at like 500 employees.
Yes. So we've had some really incredible leaders, which has that was a big draw for why I joined PatientPop, because I was thinking I'm going to be learning from the best of the best. And also like Kevin Dorsey was in charge of our sales team specifically, and learned a ton of lessons from him. He's incredible. But in the last few months or so, we've actually been going through a merger. So we're doubling in size, and we joined with Cario to become Tibra, which is going to be the new name, but it's going to be a process still of like figuring out the little kinks during the merger.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never been a part of a company going through a merger, but I can just assume how, well, on one hand, exciting, on the other, I guess, it can be cumbersome to an extent, but you'll keep us in the loop. And it's really cool having Kevin Dorsey. I mean, I've been following them for like forever on LinkedIn as well.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of jealous, to be honest. Yeah, so everybody listening, like, go and follow KD. He's a very cool dude, sharing a lot of knowledge on social media. Anyway, well, that's really cool. So I mean, like, I'm very excited about the company. It really sounds amazing. But let's just kind of get back to the main track. I mean,
Yeah.
is there a specific thing that you wish you knew before you became an SDR?
So this is a recent LinkedIn post that I posted, but I think realizing that it's a marathon and not a sprint, in terms of like, I came into the org too because I felt like I was behind. I was like, straight away, I'm going to do everything possible to get promoted as quickly as possible to become an AE so I can close my own deals. I feel like that is like the golden standard for a lot of people in sales, at least as an SDR. But so that kind of was part of my like struggles in terms of in the beginning when I first started. And then mindset really kicked in, and realizing like coming into this, you are like trying to learn as much as possible. Make use of your time being an SDR or BDR. I actually think it is such a fun job in terms of you get to learn so much. You're getting paid to learn. You are still developing so many skills. Take your time. Like, don't rush through it. And also, as you get higher into the ladders of being an AE, there is a lot more pressure in terms of quotas hanging over your head. Like, for us, it's like right now, if we like, the biggest con would be like, not biggest con, but the biggest, I guess, mistake you can make is losing a demo, or like losing a demo versus an AE losing a huge deal,
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so take your time, develop your skills, have fun, just learn. Like,
Awesome.
yeah.
I wish somebody had told me that when I was starting as an SDR. I was always so eager to, get to the next level as soon as possible. And I'm not even sure if I got the chance to actually enjoy the whole process. And I can relate so much with what you just said, which is basically, it really changes from, you have 10, 15, 20 meetings to book versus you have 500,000 or 1 million to book in revenue, or rather to like sign in contracts. Like it really changes
Yeah.
their perspective. So it's a great point there. But speaking of like, being an AE, like what is your current like kind of career? Where do you see yourself in, I don't know, 6, 12, 18 months?
Yeah. So I am actually currently going through a boot camp to become an AE pretty soon.
Nice.
And to basically, we get some training to be a closer, and then you have to interview for some spots. And so that is definitely my goal. Like, I can't wait to be able to book the meetings, but then be able to walk through the doctors and be able to help their business. Like, that is something that really excites me. Um, because I care about, even with all the demos I book, I care about each business in
Yeah.
particular. And I want to see like what happens with them and like how we could actually help. And so that is definitely my goal in terms of my current position. I've also been posting a lot more on LinkedIn. I really want to, extend my reach in terms of helping other people get into tech, because I'm so excited about tech sales. Like, I just think it's the best. It's such an amazing industry. There's so much opportunity here, especially for women. Like, that's a huge thing that I'm passionate about, because women typically take lower paying jobs in tech sales. There are so many, like, it's just the opportunities there are insane, and women statistically do better in sales, in tech
That
sales at
is
least.
that is so true. No, for like that is very true. I even had like a friend of mine. I started before her as an SDR, but she
Mhm.
actually had a lot better results after, like she started like, I don't know, like 6 months after me, but she had
Wow.
such better results. And she was like, "Well, this is easy. I don't get all the process about it." I'm like, come on, it's not that easy. But no, I've seen women really crush it as sales. And what I also love, and why I like love sales, is because it's really, it's an equal playground. And you get the opportunity, and usually like SDR salaries are more or less like public, right?
Mhm.
Usually, and which is great, because women are not going to get lowballed with offers just because they're women, or they're not asking for more, which is a personal
Exactly.
a personal thing that I love. But let's not get into this too much. Um, but yeah, I mean, that's pretty awesome. I think you bring up a great point there. And I mean, you're the proof that women can crush it, and completely, like in sales. And so yeah, this is pretty awesome. Like, to all the women, and to all everybody who's trying to break into sales, like what would be your advice to them?
Yeah, I would say just just do it. I feel like a lot of people get held back by things like in terms of, oh, like, I don't want to switch industries or start all over, especially because like being SDR, BDR, it feels like you're starting at the bottom in a lot of ways, because it is such a learning role. But I would say, like, do everything in your power to try to make that happen if this is something that interests you. And also, like, don't be scared to make that jump. But on top of that, reach out to people. That's the best way to kind of get an in. Reach out, be persistent with those people that you're reaching out to. Try to create value and make the messaging about them. Like, if you are trying to get a salesperson to help you in some way, give you a recommendation, you need to offer them some value. So, like, just, I think, just trying to be strategic with your outreach, be personalized about it, add them on LinkedIn, comment on their posts, like, just try to connect with people. And just do your research. Yeah, those are some tips I would give.
That's awesome. And I mean, in most of these episodes, people are very active on LinkedIn, and
Mhm.
give advice on how to approach getting hired as an SDR using LinkedIn, which is probably one of the best tools. out there to do so. You're pretty active there all the time, right?
I actually just started not too long ago. I think I've maybe
Really?
like posted, yeah, I posted maybe like 5 or 6 posts, but I was just encouraged by some managers to start posting just because I felt like I was doing that with my team. Like I was like the cheerleader with everyone. I was like, I'm so excited about tech sales. Like I want everyone to like really get better and like learn. And I just felt like I did a lot of research on my own in terms of reading books, listening to podcasts, and like I felt like I could share some of my stories as well and to help other people.
Oh, for sure, for sure. No,
Yeah.
I was under the impression that you were like a veteran on LinkedIn. I was like, how come I haven't bumped into your profile sooner? But obviously, you actually weren't there. But you keep mentioning, LinkedIn, sales books, podcasts. Like, are like, which medium out of these would you recommend or pinpoint as the number one resource for you?
Yeah, I mean, I would honestly say all of them, which is, but I feel like starting out, I think for a lot of people, podcasts are probably the easiest thing just because you can go on a walk and listen to a podcast. There's so many good resources out there. Um, but I will say, I think reading was the most valuable in terms of retention, in terms of actual skills. Because I think reading, you are really taking the time to absorb that material. You're sitting down, reading it, and it's more so retained in your memory versus listening to a podcast. But yeah, I think just having the mindset though of just perpetual growth and learning, just being excited to learn, that is something that you need to carry with you throughout your career in general.
Well, that kind of brings us to the end of this episode. I think that the things that you've shared are very very useful, and that a lot of people can relate to it. First of all, and then kind of use it for their own benefit. I appreciate you being on the show and sharing your story with us. Hopefully, we'll get to see where you land going forward, and you get a promotion soon enough. And yeah, any final words that you want to leave our audience with?
Yeah, I mean, thank you so much, Stefan, for having me on the show. And I am just so excited to help. So if anyone ever wants to reach out to me on LinkedIn or anywhere else, like please feel free. I love just meeting people, connecting with people. And I'm excited about this industry. I think there's so much potential here for other people to really make an amazing career out of it. So tech sales, go into it. But yeah, thank you so much again for having me. And I hope this helps someone out there.
So it's gonna help them for sure. Okay, it's been a pleasure. I guess I'll see you around, and thank you very much for being the part of this.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to the SDR Hire podcast, the only podcast exclusively focused on SDRs, where successful salespeople share about their hiring stories and sales adventures straight from the trenches. If you found this useful, go ahead and share it with someone else you know is trying to break into tech or land their next SDR gig. You can find SDR Hire on all major podcast platforms as well as YouTube. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and catch you in the next episode.